Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Super excited. Today is part 3 of our DIY bumper build series. We went from making the lower bumper from scratch in the garage to adding the Swingout tire carrier on the back, which I love. And now we're adding what I think is probably the best accessory for the whole thing. It's the drop down table that lets you, set up camp so much faster, cook off the back, put your tools, whatever. It's just super useful and I'm excited to show you guys. So let's check it out. Okay, first things first, you might be thinking, this bumper doesn't look exactly like the one you just built, and that is because it's not. I actually sold the one you saw in the video already to somebody to help pay for my new transmission. This is the first bumper I've had where I didn't make the lower part, but I actually made the upper part, and I've already got the swing out on it. So I want to show it to you. This also has the nicer latch that I recommend getting over the one that I showed in the last video. Just a little bit nicer. I like the big handle and it just really locks in. So anyways, this opens up like that. I usually grab this by the table, pop like that, and swing out is open, table is up, table is down. No attachment ropes, no supports, plenty strong to put all your camp gear on here. I usually put a Coleman stove and whatever. Oh, back of the truck is going to be messy because I've got the kids gear here, but you can see this is important. Check that out, you guys. Table space enough for Gordon Ramsay himself, I'm sure. You could really chef it up on this, and I really like it. Super useful on the truck. All right, let's get right into it. First off, this is just a cheap piece of plywood. 3/4 inch thick plywood I used actually for a different project when I had bed drawers, and I cut this table out as like kind of a template, but it ended up working so well that I kept it. The plywood's actually pretty dang strong for how much it weighs, and it's been totally sufficient. On the top I added a piece of really thin steel, and I actually got this steel from the backside of a filing cabinet that was on Craigslist for free. I don't know if I found the Instagram story footage up here, but you might see me cutting or grinding the back of a filing cabinet off. You can see it's like just ultra thin sheeting basically, and I wanted that obviously so water doesn't absorb straight into the top, so you can cut on it and kind of cook on it and do prep on it, and it looks a lot better than just straight plywood does. If I had a bigger budget when I was making this, or I had a welder when I was making this, I probably would do a different materials list. I might use 3/4 by 3/4 inch steel tubing, make a box, and put a thin piece of aluminum or stainless or something. But honestly, this has worked super well. I wouldn't change this one already just because it's worked so well. So yeah, super simple. Let's talk about the hinges I used and what you should look for when you're looking for your own hinges. Okay, so simple hinges obviously, but I think these might be gate hinges. They were just in the metal section, like the raw steel section at the hardware store, and they were weldable hinges. So I didn't actually weld them, and I'm really glad I didn't. I just bolted them through, which I really recommend, because then you can remove this table super easily. Heavy duty hinges. These hinges only open that far, and then they're going to lock up on themselves. If you could see, if it tried to open more, the top of the hinge is going to hit the bottom of the hinge. So that's as far as it can open, which means that this table can't get pulled down any farther than it already is. The other important thing is I added a piece of metal on the back side of the table, the same size as the hinge. If you just did a washer, I think you could run the chance of possibly pulling this bolt through the wood. So having this here keeps that from happening. And I haven't had, like I said, any problems with carrying weight on here, and even my son has stood on the back of this, no problem. So let's talk about attaching it. Okay, so like I said earlier, it's just attached with bolts straight through the swing arm, and I really recommend this over welding because you can super quickly remove it. I just have 1/2 inch, obviously not tightened down, nuts on the end here, and you can pull this table off if you want to change it out, if you don't want it on there, whatever reason. It's just nicer than having it welded. and just makes for a very simple at-home project without major tools. So definitely recommend not welding and just going straight through. All right, you guys are gonna laugh at me for this one, but this table is just held in place with magnets from a phone case mount. So this actually worked so well. It was like $5 at the local bargain market, and it's lost its little rubber cap. But because this is steel and because this is just past vertical, there's really not much pressure at all trying to pull away from there, and this will hold on trails. Now I've added a little piece of foam just in case it does bounce loose. This contacts the back of the tailgate, but that magnet, one of my favorite features. I think I would add a retaining strap maybe in the future, just because sometimes I open this up. When you're opening it, since you're pulling the swing out, there's a little bit of inertia and it wants to stay, you know, wants to open. So I might add something, but as far as if I was just not worried about kids, I wouldn't worry about it. Worried about kids dropping this on them is what I mean. But the magnets just make for a super simple, super clean operation of the table, and that's been one of my favorite things. I'm definitely going to include that in my next build as well. So that's how it stays up. We've covered the material it's made from, the aluminum edging, and now let's talk about mounting the Pelican case, which is one of my favorite things. All right, so it looks like I totally forgot to film how this attaches when I was filming that earlier part of the video, and actually I sold the bumper you saw in the video to help pay for my new transmission. All this metal here is going to be new bumpers, so don't worry, I'm going to get another one. But I will show you how I mounted the Pelican case. Now keep in mind, I made this mount and came up with this before I owned a welder. So I think I would do something a little different now that I have a welder, but this is what I did without a welder, and I just used a piece of aluminum that my buddy had. So I kind of lucked out because this is some giant channel aluminum part. I think it's half of a C channel piece of aluminum. I cut the other C part off, and I believe this is 1/4 inch thick, and I don't know where you guys could find something like this if you wanted to duplicate it exactly. I just used a piece of scrap, like I said, so I don't know how hard it would be to duplicate this exactly, but you can kind of just see how simple it is. Just basically a piece of angle, and then the same bolts that went through the back of the swing arm to the table went right through here and just suctioned this faceplate to that metal on the swing out arm, which made it very rigid. The only flex that you got was from the actual piece of aluminum bending. So with a welder now, I'd probably use 3/16 steel and then just do a little gusset here, you know, or maybe just one in the middle, and then you'd have no flex. So that would be better. And then to attach the case, I hate to do this, but like I said, I didn't have a welder, so I didn't have other ways of kind of getting this on there, but I did drill through the bottom of the Pelican case. I used carriage bolts and then used a rubber washer on either side of the case, outside and inside. And then on the inside is a large piece of cutting board as a giant washer. I'm gonna open up this case and I'll show you that right now. Okay, so as you can tell, you can imagine this is part of a cutting board. I found that cutting board material, I think it's some type of, I don't know, some type of nylon composite or something. It's very strong, has a tiny bit of flex, easy to drill through, and it's easy to find. It'd hard to find a piece of material like this at the hardware store. So I've actually just gone to like Bargain Market or Home Goods or someplace. You can buy a cutting board for, you know, $6, $7. And if you're looking for a heavy duty piece of plastic type material, it works really well. So I'm using this instead of a washer like this because when I clamp this down, it's giving pressure all around, right? It's got pressure on the ends and the middle, and that'll keep it more stable so the case doesn't want to move, and also keep it from wanting to stress just the hole that you drilled in the case. So that's pretty much it, you guys. I've got some fun plans for this case. Right now I've just got the foam in the top, and then I keep a huge mess of tubes for air and recovery straps and shackles and just stuff that I usually grab when I'm on the trails. or that I want to be able to grab without unpacking anything. But what I'd like to do is do like a little organizer board here with a headlamp and a first aid kit, and I don't know, some other little things that are just would be nice to have and kind of organized. So yeah, that's it for how I mounted this Pelican case the first time I did it. I think I'm gonna do something different the next time, but yeah, that's what I did. Back to the rest of the video. Okay, wrapping up here, and this is a good time to talk about dimensions. So obviously this is on my 2001 Toyota Tacoma, so you could follow these dimensions exactly if you were building this exact thing. But overall, the guideline that I like to follow for this is, as we said before, the tire on the Swingout is not blocking brake light, and it's as close as it can be to the side without doing that. It's not too high that you can't see out over the back. It's not too low that it's gonna drag when you go off-road. And then same thing goes for the table. It follows the lines at the tailgate. I think this looks better than leaving like a strip or going too wide over the brake light. It goes up to basically the height of the tailgate. So yeah, just some quick, you know, little details, but I think that really adds to the overall look, making it look like it's put together well, even if you do make it at home. So little things like that, I would suggest following similar dimensions, whatever those might be for your specific build. All right, you guys, well, that was the final video of the bumper build series on my YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed making the bumper. Cool thing is too, I've got so inspired by this, and so many people left so many great comments that I decided to make a batch of these bumpers for you guys. If you're in California, you can come pick one up. I'm not sure if I'm going to open it up for shipping. Hi, Haley. But yeah, I'm going to be building some, so check my website for the new bumper brackets to make this. Check to see if you can do a pre-order there. I think at some point both of those things should be live on there, so very excited. Enjoyed making these videos, enjoy reading all the comments, good and bad, and I've actually learned a few things from the comments in regards to welding and stuff, so thank you for that. If you just subscribed, I really appreciate it. It's fun to watch the channel grow, and it's fun to make these videos for all you guys to enjoy. So until next video, I'll see you guys later.